Charlie Austin, good morning to you. Arsenal are top of the league. Are they the best team that you've seen so far this season in the Premier League?
You have to say yes, the way they're all kind of coming together. They've had a couple of setbacks with people being injured. Saka was out for a couple of games. Martin Odegaard hasn't kind of been fortunate in that way. He's been out and then he's missed more than he's played, unfortunately. But as a collective and a squad, they look really solid.
You've talked about this already this season, about Arsenal last season dropping points against clubs you would expect them to win. So have a look at this, because this season they are 5 points better off than they were in those same fixtures last season. Here it is. So is that the key if they're going to win the league? You can see that last season they dropped points. Fair enough, Manchester United and Liverpool, 2 draws away from home are good ones. Forest, Manchester City winning at home, but then losing away at Newcastle. Losing at home to West Ham's a big one. And they're 5 points better off this time out.
But I think as you look at them fixtures there, Tom, anyone part of Arsenal, you'd say go to Man United and you'd want to win the game. You'd expect to win. Liverpool try not to get beat, and look, they was undone by an unbelievable goal. Beat Nottingham Forest at home, play Man City at home, don't get beat. They drew the game, go to Newcastle, win, same with West Ham. So in that tally, what you see there, the start is obviously, it's probably been expected from the fans and everybody involved in Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, I know we're only 7 games in, but is it better to be leading or chasing at this stage?
I think leading, that's an easy question. I think it's leading. You don't want to be chasing, we'll turn good, we'll come good, it will click in time. You want to get off to a great start, and look, they've put the right foot forward and they're leading at the second international break stage, and it's a fantastic start for them.
They're leading, and in the past it has been noted that Arsenal's squad may well be the strongest in the league, and they're leading already.
I think now you can look at it and you are really going, look, they have got such a strong squad. When people have got injured, they've had easy replacements ready to go. And now building on, going into the games after the international break, look, they're leading, they're top of the league. They've signed someone that effectively should score 15 to 20 goals for them this season. Then they've got wide players, and then they've got arguably one of the most exciting players that was playing outside of the top 6 in Eze that they brought in the summer.
Right, let's bring in the fans' view now, because Sky Sports have partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans, known as Fanlists, share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, scan the QR code here or visit the Sky Sports app for more details. We can speak to Arsenal supporter Harry Symeou now. Good morning to you, Harry. Now, Liverpool have definitely hit a bump in the road. Manchester City, not as convincing as they could be. Is it now or never for your club?
I don't want to say now or never, because that would suggest that, we're never going to be at that top table again. I think that Arsenal are in a great place, and it's because they've been putting the work in for a number of years now, and they've managed to build a squad, as you guys were just touching on, that is capable of challenging, that is capable of hopefully going all the way. But it is still really, really early on. You touched on it there, mate. It's Harry, 7 games in.
Sorry, I know we're 7 games in and we're going along this point, but we've got to stop getting away from this bit about challenging. You've been challenging for the last 3 years. Now you've built a squad to go and win. Win the league. That's the thing. So we can't keep going on about, we can challenge, we've got this squad, we can challenge. You had the squad to challenge now. He's built the squad over the summer to get over the line and go and finish top of the league.
Yeah, and there is expectation around Arsenal right now. That's why Arsenal are currently the favourites to win the Premier League. But you can't take it for granted. Like, surely, Charlie, you've played football. You know that nothing's a given. There's no guarantee that because Arsenal made the signings that they did in the summer, that they're now going to win it. And this idea that Liverpool are out of it, or that Liverpool have slipped off and should no longer be considered favourites by anyone because they're 1 point behind 7 games in, to me is crazy. So I say challenge because I'm respecting the fact that Liverpool have been there and done it. I'm respecting the fact that Manchester City, I think, will be in the equation as well. These are 2 sides that have gotten over the line. It's not to say that there's no expectation around Arsenal or that we shouldn't go and win it. It's simply to pay respect to those around us that are also capable of going on and winning it, and have also shown that they can do it already. That's all it is.
So now you've built the squad to get over the line. I know you said Liverpool, Man City have got over the line, but now you're saying, as an Arsenal fan, and a lot of people from the outside in are saying the squad is there to get over the line.
Yeah, it is. And if Arsenal don't get over the line this year, then it will be seen as a failure, because this is something that we've been building towards for a long, long time. And this is probably the first time in ages that Arsenal have been the favourites. You know, let's not forget that during the summer, people were saying that Liverpool had the best window. You know, Liverpool had spent around £400 million, bought the best striker in the league, bought Florian Wirtz in, whatever. And I just find it amazing how flip-flop everybody is and how the whole narrative can change.
That's because of the start, mate. That's because of the start, isn't it? Like the way that they're Florian Wirtz and Saka started and haven't hit the heights that I guess everybody thought they would. And then all of a sudden everyone flips the narrative of like, oh, Arsenal have had the best summer, when we spent 3-4 months constantly going on about, oh, Liverpool had a phenomenal summer.
But that's just knee-jerk analysis, isn't it? Because ultimately, Liverpool are only going to get better. If we're talking about them having a questionable start because, you know, some of those new players haven't embedded in yet, because they're having a bit of a transition under Arne Slot now, because remember, last summer, he didn't do that much business, then that's working on the assumption that they're going to get better. So I don't think it's wrong for Arsenal fans to be sitting there going, we do have the squad and we expect, you know, hopefully to get over the line after all the years of work that we've put in. But I don't think it's wrong to still be wary of Liverpool or Manchester City or anybody else for that matter that has the capabilities of going on and winning it. It's not, you know, people sort of protecting Arsenal or preempting failure. No, it's simply understanding the level of this competition. And last year, we thought we had a great chance, and we went into the season and we were rocked by injuries, left, right and centre, and our chances faded away. We've been through that. We know what can happen if things don't go your way. So it's just a cautiousness that I think we need to apply. Guess what? Because we're 7 games into the season. It's crazy.
You talk about players betting in, though, at Liverpool. What about Viktor Gyokeres? It's 6 games without a goal, and that was the one position that every Arsenal fan and, well, every football fan knew that Arsenal needed to strengthen. How much time are you going to give him to gel, or do you take him out?
I don't even think there's a conversation to be had about Viktor Gyokeres at this moment in time. He scored 3 goals in his 7 Premier League games so far. I thought that when he came from Portugal, looking at his numbers there, that wouldn't quite translate, that he might be a 1-in-2 man, and he's, half a goal away from being a 1-in-2 man so far this season in the Premier League. So I think that if you watch Arsenal closely, you know, if you're going to the games and you're sort of watching him off the ball a lot, you'll see that he's putting in incredible levels of work. He's battling, he's fighting, he's running channels, he's creating spaces for others. You know, and also when he was brought in, I'd imagine that for Arsenal, they did it not too worried about his kind of transitional period, because of the fact that Kai Havertz would have been there to share that burden with him, share the workload, hopefully chip in with some goals. And he hasn't had that. The performance against West Ham, I think you could argue, was a bit of a drop-off versus what we saw against Olympiacos and Newcastle before that. But I'd say that was the 3rd game he played in 7 days, and with the inability to rotate in that specific area right now, you know, he's worked incredibly hard. So for me, I think as Arsenal fans, we got to push back on this. You know, do we take Viktor Gyokeres out stuff just a few games into the season? You know, if we're giving Florian Wirtz lots of time and we're giving Alexander Isak time to get fit and up to speed, who's been in this league already, then why does the Gyokeres conversation have to lead to, you know, is he the right fit? Do we take him out, etc.? We don't have a choice right now. There's no other striker at Arsenal.
Well, Charlie, you'd said that Viktor Gyokeres would be the difference for Arsenal against the clubs that Arsenal should be beating. But again, Harry's just brought up the fact that West Ham, it didn't really work out for him. I'm just looking at the next few games when we talk about this. In the league, this is Fulham away, ahead of the next international break, Palace at home, Burnley away, Sunderland away before the next international break. Is this where we see the best of Gyokeres?
Probably. This is where we're sitting. This is what... but arguably, though, when I say it like tongue-in-cheek, is that's what Arsenal fans wanted the number 9 for. That's what Arsenal brought him in, right? To get him over the line and be someone to be the game changer, where in them games where they've dropped points easily throughout the season. The more I look at it now, to be honest with you, is I still stand by what I said before a ball was even kicked. Like, let's not forget, he did score 2 against Leeds as well. So we can, as much as we say 3 and 7 or whatever it is, 1 in 6. And however the way you look at it with stats-wise, you can put it as a positive or a negative. Like, I think for the next 4 games is where he needs to shine and be the difference and add to his goal tally. And I know you've gone about not being something that he'll look at or the club will wear it. But let me tell you, as a centre forward, you are the most selfish person on the pitch. and you worry about your personal numbers. Like, forget the narrative on the fans and it's about the team and this, that and the other. At the end of the season, personal pride comes into it for a striker, looks at his numbers at the end, because that's what the answers are. That's the questions that goes towards them on that.
And Harry, with those next 4 Premier League fixtures, how disappointed will you be if you are not still top of the Premier League at the next international break? Just to reiterate, Fulham away, Crystal Palace at home, Burnley away and Sunderland away. I know only one of them is at home, but if Arsenal are going to win the title, they need to win against Fulham, Burnley and Sunderland, even though they're away.
Yeah, they're games that you have to win on paper, absolutely. But again, we know the Premier League isn't always that straightforward. It's not always that cut and dry. It's why it's the best league in the world. So, we'll be disappointed if we're not top of the table come that point. But just to circle back on Charlie's point about Viktor Gyokeres as well, you're right. Of course, a centre-forward wants to score goals. You know that better than I do. But I think he is having an impact in games. And where I said it didn't really work out against West Ham, it didn't work out in terms of hitting the back of the net himself. But the spaces he created, the room he created for other people, it was really, really important. And I just think in the modern game where you come up against low blocks so often, right, as a centre forward, there will be times when you're isolated and you got to be patient. And I don't like the idea of people getting onto his back this early. I think it's crazy. The numbers, yes, okay, we can package them up whatever way you want, but I think numbers-only analysis is lazy. And so I'm doing that back.
I'll tell you one thing he'd be annoyed about, Harry. I'll tell you one thing he'd be annoyed about is that Saka took the penalty and he didn't.
100%, but he's a striker.
But there you go, most selfish person on the pitch, aren't we? That's why centre-forwards, that's why they get paid the big money, because they're the most selfish people on the pitch.
In general, do players choose who take the penalties, or does the manager tell you, in general?
The manager says, but ultimately it comes down to players' decision and the player kind of takes it. And to be fair, Saka's taken the penalties now for what, 3-4 years? And his penalty record speaks for itself.
Good to see you. Fair enough.
There's always been a split. Sometimes Saka takes him, sometimes Odegaard takes him. Saka was celebrating a milestone game. He wanted to get that 100th goal contribution in the Premier League. I can understand it. But you're right, Gyokeres wouldn't have liked it.
And Harry, with Odegaard injured again, how concerned are you for that? We've all said about how good Arsenal's squad is, but still losing Martin Odegaard would still be a massive blow.
Yeah, for sure. He's the club captain. He's really important to the way we play. The game against Olympiacos last Wednesday was a real sign of him starting to form a relationship with Gyokeres, finding him in those channels nice and early at sort of multiple times during the game. It is a disappointment, but I'm not massively worried because they're sort of impact injuries. First, it was the shoulder. He fell on it awkwardly. It happened the second time, same problem. And now, obviously, a clash of knees has led to this MCL injury. But again, it's not like it's a muscular problem that I fear is going to constantly recur. So for that reason, I'm a little bit more relaxed about it than maybe others. And we've got the depth now to cover it.
In terms of you are at the top, we've talked about that. How confident are you that these players can handle leading from the front? Because you'll be reminded of it every day on this programme. The Manchester City and Liverpool, they've got over the line before and Arsenal haven't. And that experience, we are told by the ex-pros that we have on this show, that experience of getting over the line is vital. And in an Arsenal shirt, none of these players or the manager have done it.
Yeah, look, there's going to be nervy points, of course. If you've not been there, done it, if you've not gone through this situation before, you're going to probably have wobbles along the way. But this team have been growing for years and they've got better and better, maybe with the exception of last season, every single year under Mikel Arteta. And I would argue that was largely due to some of the injury issues. I think Mikel Arteta has improved as a manager. I think his man management is better. I think his in-game management is improving. And he's got something different now. You know, people keep talking about the depth of the squad. That brings different challenges. Obviously, every manager would love to have that variety of options, but you've also got to figure out what combinations work, which combinations maybe don't work, what games you can get away with X in and Y in. And these are all things that he'll figure out along the way. But he learns, he adapts, he changes things. And I think for that reason, you know, over the course of the season, it will be absolutely fine.
The final question we're asking all of our fans today is that on the transfer shows later, we're going through every 20 Premier League club at the moment and going through their top 3 signings of this decade, so since 2020. Do you want me to, first of all, reveal who the Arsenal top 3 are, according to our reporters, or do you want to give us your top 3?
Go ahead. You can reveal them if you want.
Okay,
No problem.
the
Let's see what
official
people are
Sky
saying.
Sports news ones are Gabriel, Declan Rice and David Raya. Now, remember, this is for every Premier League club, but specifically on Arsenal on this occasion, since 2020. They've got have signed since then. So David Raya, Declan Rice and Gabriel. Who are your three?
It's interesting because I think Gabriel's definitely up there. You know, he's been incredible since he's come into the club. He's certainly improved over the years, and I make him to be one of the best centre-backs in the world at the moment. So he would be in my three. I think there's a couple of honourable mentions as well that maybe haven't been included. I don't disagree with Rice and Raya, but Rice cost a lot of money. I think for value, someone like Jurrien Timber, at about 40 million euros. I think he's been an unbelievable signing. He can play right back, centre back. He's played at left back at times. He's been solid. He's bounced back after a horrible injury and looks brilliant again. I'm pretty sure Martin Odegaard didn't sign permanently as well until after that point. In which case,
yep, no, he's eligible. He's eligible.
Yep. In which case, you know, for me, he goes to the top of the list because, again, you're talking about good value for a player that has been such a key part and played such a major role in Arsenal's elevation as a team over the years. I think you could even, like, again, honourable mentions, you could throw Gabi Jesus in there and Zinchenko. And I know people might laugh at that, but again, those two, when they first came in, they elevated the level. They took Arsenal from a team that couldn't get into the Champions League to a team that were challenging for the title. And yes, the Gunners have moved past them in terms of the development and the progression, but they were catalyst signings. They really, really were.
So who are your three then?
So my three would be Odegaard. I'll probably put Timber in the three as well. I'm going to put Rice in there, but obviously the price tag on Rice makes it a little bit like he's great and he's brilliant. And, you know, we were singing at the weekend that we got him half price when he scored against West Ham, but it is a lot of money. So the expectation level was there, of course.
So Gabriel and Raya have been dropped out of the top three, according to you. By the way, fans of all 20 Premier League clubs, please get in touch with your top three signings since 2020. So this decade, you know how to do it. Harry, thank you.